Allow me to take you back to the 70s for a quick moment. I certainly wasn't alive, so this is all hearsay. I am a huge fan of progressive rock, and one artist that I've chosen to delve into over the years is Emerson, Lake and Palmer. In 1973, ELP released an album called Brain Salad Surgery, which contains their epic piece of Carnival 9, as well as a relatively famous album cover designed by artist H.R. Geiger. His style tends to be quite monochromatic, with imagery of death, mechanical structures, and alien-looking lifeforms. Because of this, he was hired on to design the now ever-recognizable xenomorph creature from the film Alien, directed by Ridley Scott in 1979. Everybody knows this thing, even if you haven't seen any of the Alien films. It's one of the most infamous film creatures in history, and Alien and the sequel Aliens are considered to be horror classics and must-owns. Fast forward to the year 1985. The video game industry was in ruins with the infamous video game crash of 1983, and it was up to the Japanese company Nintendo to rebuild the entire video game structure with the release of the new home console, the Nintendo Entertainment System, or Famicom in Japan, along with a video game starring some Italian plumber that people sort of liked. It was his return following the 1983 game Mario Bros., and now featured Mario in his very own adventure game, obtaining the enhanced name of Super Mario Bros. Super Mario Bros. Was extremely vibrant and colorful as opposed to Atari and computer graphics, and featured the protagonist Mario traversing the world of the Mushroom Kingdom by moving from left to right to reach the end of each stage. Mario's claim to fame is that he can jump really high and can obtain power-ups to take out enemies easier in order to rescue Princess Toadstool from the King Koopa. I mean, I don't really need to say too much about this game. It's arguably the single most important video game ever created. It was once the single best-selling video game of all time at around 58 million copies, but it now stands in 6th place. This can be skewed a bit, as if you take into account of how many copies have been sold, traded in, rebought, etc., it's gotta be ridiculously high. I mean, locating copies of Super Mario Bros. With Duck Hunt are like finding pennies on the ground. Anyway, Nintendo single-handedly revitalized the entire video game industry, and developments for new properties were underway. In February of 1986, I'm now 1 month away from being born, and less importantly, Nintendo released a new game entitled The Legend of Zelda to branch out on the idea of a top-down gameplay style in which your character named Link can move in any direction on a grid-like pattern, as well as being able to explore the world at your own free will. Your ultimate objective here was to locate the 8 dungeons spread out among the land of Hyrule in order to find pieces of the legendary Triforce, in which you must defeat the end boss at the end of each dungeon. You were not told where to go and had to rely on your own exploration in order to learn where you are on the world map. The Legend of Zelda wasn't quite as big of a hit as Super Mario Bros. Was, but not by much. It stands as the 6th best-selling NES game of all time and has since spawned over 25 games and is among the top tier in the best-selling video game franchises with a devoted fanbase. Enter March of 1986. I'm born. But another thing that happened in 1986 was the highly anticipated sequel to 1979's Alien, entitled Aliens, directed by James Cameron. Alien deals with a group of people traveling back to Earth in an enormous commercial spaceship, when after briefly exploring a moon upon receiving a distress signal, an alien lifeform uses one of the crew members as a vessel to sort of breed and unleash the deadly xenomorph on their ship. It is a horror classic and is renowned for its atmosphere and invokes the fear of hopeless isolation, as these people have nowhere else to go while being hunted. Spoiler for Alien here, but only one crew member survives, Ellen Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver. The sequel, Aliens, follows Ripley going with highly trained colonial marines in order to investigate the moon where they first encountered the creatures, also known as facehuggers. It is known for being much more of an action-oriented film than atmospheric horror, but, fortunately for the film, it is typically labeled as one of the best sequels ever made. Many prefer Aliens to Alien, although both films are hugely beloved. Aliens was a huge success and ended up sparking more sequels, a comic book line, books, toys, video games, and a collaboration with another film series, Predator. Which finally brings me to the entire point of this episode and this new series I'll be doing, in which we will go through every Metroid release in order. Thank you for bearing with me for a little history there, but it's all important for this. Nintendo had the hits of Super Mario Bros. And The Legend of Zelda on their hands. The hype for Aliens was real in the film industry. Why not try to utilize elements of all three and make an entirely new game? Take the side-scrolling run and jump aspect of Super Mario Bros. With the upgraded power-ups like the Super Mushroom and Fire Flower. take the exploration element of The Legend of Zelda, where it's up to the player to go in any direction that they please, as well as also locating upgrades to Link's arsenal. Take the space exploration and extreme isolation element from Alien and put all three together. Combined, they had a pretty interesting video game concept there. So, it was now up to one of Nintendo's top developers, Nintendo Research and Development No. 1, to do so. The creators of the arcade classics of Donkey Kong and Mario Bros., as well as some of the very first NES games, like Ice Climber, Baseball, Balloon Fight, and Clu Clu Land. The lead director for this new game was Satoru Okada, who is credited with the creation of this game. He also wanted the protagonist to be a human with robotic elements, also known as an android, but also be able to jump high and move quick like Mario. Sort of like a Metro android, thus the name Metroid was born. The protagonist for this series was given the name Samus Aran, a bounty hunter given the task of exploring the planet Zebes. Samus is equipped with an orange and red spacesuit with a green visor as well as one arm cannon capable of firing a variety of weapons. And thus, Metroid was released in Japan for the Famicom on August 6, 1986, and then a little over a year later in North America on August 15, 1987, for the Nintendo Entertainment System. So, as per tradition, let's check out the box and pretend that this is our first encounter with this new game. The front of the box is in the same style of all of the early NES games, with that diagonal zoomed in screenshot of the game paired with a black background, or in this case gray. We see the image of Samus standing on a platform while shooting at what looks like some small spider creature while some turtle thing floats by. The back of the box states, "It's you against the evil Mother Brain in the thrilling battle of Metroid." The evil Mother Brain sounds intense, and the thrilling battle of Metroid, is that the planet we're on? You're inside the fortress planet Zebes. Oh, okay, never mind. So what is the Battle of Metroid? The planet of endless secret passageways where the Metroid are multiplying. So the Metroid are things. Is that spider thing a Metroid? Left alone, the Metroid are harmless, but in the wrong hands they could destroy the galaxy. It's up to you to prevent the Mother Brain that controls Zebes from using the Metroid for evil purposes. But that won't be easy. You'll have to use your spacesuit to absorb valuable energy for your search to gain the use of power items like the Ice Beam, Wave Beam, High Jump Boots, and Varia. If you survive, it will be you and your acquired powers against the Mother Brain. Wow, okay, this Mother Brain sounds pretty intense, but it sounds pretty fun to me. I would be sold. I won't read the entire story in the manual, but for a quick rundown, essentially in this universe, there is a space congress called the Galactic Federation. They created a police force in order to stop consistent attacks from beings called the Space Pirates. The most skilled of these warriors are hired bounty hunters, which is already feeling more like Star Wars than Alien, but these space pirates have discovered life forms on planet SR-388. When exposed to beta rays, these life forms can multiply quick, and it is assumed that planet SR-388 was destroyed by them. The Federation named these life forms the Metroids, and they have sent famed bounty hunter Samus Aran to planet Zebes, the headquarters of the Space Pirates, in order to stop their plans to unleash the beta raid Metroids into the galaxy. This planet is controlled by the Mother Brain at the core of the planet. Samus is said to be a cyborg, and his body is infused with superpowers, but his true form remains a mystery, although the Space Pirates fear him. So Samus must explore the maze and booby-trapped planet in order to destroy the Metroid once and for all. A complex yet simple tale that's obviously very science fiction-y. And now it sounds more like Aliens, which was released less than a month before Metroid was. Samus is like Ripley, heading to the planet to stop the spread of a deadly creature, but retaining the isolation of Alien instead of going in with a team of Marines. In regards to my personal experience with this game, I was 1 when it came out in North America, so it wouldn't be until many years later when I first played it. My brother and I had an NES growing up, but it stopped working around the time when the Super Nintendo came out, and I was 5 when that happened, so any NES memories for me are very vague. I think I first played and beat Metroid in the early 2000s on an emulator, and man, does it get confusing, which I'll get into. I very recently completed it again in one sitting with my actual Metroid cartridge for this review, so it's relatively fresh in my mind. Okay, let's get into the game proper. I love this simple opening. I think ominous is the only way to describe it. You feel a sense of isolation right off the bat too. Oh, what's this? An emergency order. Defeat the Metroid of the planet Zebeth. And destroy the mother brain, the mechanical life vein. Well, they tried. Then the game just starts with Samus fading into existence on planet Zebeth, and then you're off to explore with absolutely no direction on where to go and what to do. True exploration at its finest. And I'm being serious. This game is very unhandholdy, and it's up to you and your keen sense of direction to figure out where you are. All you're shown on your screen is something that says N30 in the top left corner. This is your energy, which goes up to 99. Along the way, you can locate energy tanks which add 99 more energy every time you acquire one. This game infamously starts you out with 30 energy instead of full health. I guess Samus took a beating forming into existence. And every time you die, you restart with only 30 energy, even if you have like 5 energy tanks. Ouch. To gain more energy, destroy enemies who will sometimes leave purple glowing circles behind, and this is your energy. Samus can then shoot the power beam from his arm cannon, and it barely goes a few feet in front of you until you upgrade it. You can jump and do a sort of somersault in the air too, and that's all you're given. This area of the planet consists of blue rocky formations and platforms taking up the screen all around you with a solid black background. Around you are these spider-like creatures featured on the cover, which are called zoomers, and these suicidal bat things, which are called scree. There are plenty more creatures inhabiting this planet, but these are just your first encounters. So, if you're used to any platformers that were released around this time, especially Super Mario Bros., you would feel inclined to begin heading to the right. You certainly can go to the right and through the blue door to the first corridor, but you'll eventually get stuck and have to backtrack to where you started and go to the left in order to acquire your first item and the main essential power-up that Samus is known for, the Morph Ball. The Morph Ball allows Samus to literally become a perfectly spherical ball in order to explore small spaces by rolling around. The Morph Ball is a staple to every single Metroid game from here on out, and it all started with the first screen of the first game. And this concept is also something that will define just about every Metroid game as well. You'll explore a new area and find items, doors, places that are too high, etc. that you cannot get to, and you must find other new items throughout the game and backtrack to these places to explore more or obtain once unreachable items. Metroid games are absolutely known for its backtracking elements. You aren't given a map either, so it's up to you to figure out where these power-ups are, and believe me, there are plenty of dead ends throughout this game. If you know exactly where to go and what to do though, this game can be completed in an hour or two, and even less if you're extremely fast. If you're exploring for the first time without looking at a map though, it'll probably take many hours to complete it, learning through mistakes and trial and error. The planet Zebes consists of 5 areas to explore. The first is Brinstar, consisting of the rocky caverns of blue, orange, and green formations. Further into the planet is Norfair, the volcanic segment consisting of a lot of heat and lava. Next is Craigslayer, a sub-segment of Brinstar which houses one of the 3 end bosses of the game, Kraid, which I'll get into. Then you have Ridley's Lair, the Norfair equivalent to Craigslayer, which is where you'll locate the second boss, Ridley. And finally, Turian, the furthest point in the planet where the space pirate headquarters are, as well as the mother brain herself. There isn't exactly a specific order to these, as you'll be going between all of them at different points in the game, except for Turian. Turian is definitely your final stop. So it isn't like Brinstar is level 1, Norfair is level 2, etc. Going between these segments of the planet are through the use of these glowing elevator-like platforms, so it's very clear when you are entering a new part of the planet. One of your first power-ups you should find are missiles, another weapon Samus is known for using. Each upgrade adds 5 missiles to Samus's arsenal, which are much stronger than the power beam and can open pink doors. These are the most common upgrades to find throughout the game and are usually hidden, which further rewards exploration. But then, on occasion, you'll discover some hallways that have different music. And, true story, this music has actually been my ringtone for a while now. The sound effects in NES music in Metroid is just awesome, and will get reused multiple times throughout the series. It's part of the series' charm, really. But these rooms may seem a little off-putting at first. The random beep tones make it seem like something sinister is lurking, but you'll soon discover that these rooms typically mean you are about to receive a new upgrade. Finding new upgrades are really what make these games. They're great at giving you a feeling of reward and satisfaction, like you just opened up all these new possibilities for new places to go, especially if you found yourself lost or stuck. At the end of these corridors, you'll find a room that will look just about the same every time. A room with a lot of silver metallic structures and a weird looking bird statue holding a ball. Shoot the ball to reveal what your new upgrade will be, which could be a new suit like the Various suit, allowing you to enter areas with extreme heat, the Ice Beam, which can freeze enemies in place, or the Morph Ball bomb, another absolute essential addition to Samus's arsenal, among other power-ups. I'm not going to go through every power-up or every enemy or anything, this is just a brief glimpse of how the game functions. It's not really a game to spoil or anything, as there isn't much of a story aside from one big notorious twist that I'm sure is a surprise to no one at this point, but I'll get there. You know your job is to go in and destroy the Mother Brain and the Metroids, and yeah, where are these Metroids? What are Metroids? Well, in order to reach Turian to destroy the Mother Brain, you must first defeat the evil bosses Kraid and Ridley. Kraid is a yellow and green reptilian creature known for shooting spikes and claw-looking things at you, and is considered to be the boss of Brinstar. Ridley is arguably Samus's ultimate arch-nemesis, even more so than the Mother Brain. Ridley will appear countless times throughout the series in some form. In this game, Ridley is a purple and green dragon-looking creature who lobs fireballs at you. Ridley is considered to be the boss of Norfair, and is a nod to the director of Alien, Ridley Scott. These boss encounters are honestly pretty anticlimactic for this game, you just sort of walk in on them. And they aren't even much bigger than Samus, which is something that gets changed down the line. After destroying them, you can now enter Turian and find that evil Mother Brain. If you don't want the end of the game spoiled here, if you have never actually played or know anything about Metroid, feel free to stop here. At this point, you'll have gone through almost the entire game never encountering a single namesake of the series, a Metroid. I actually love this. It gives them some build-up and mystery and makes you fear them more, not knowing exactly what you're about to encounter. Entering Turian for the first time, the music gets even weirder than it has been. Then, it happens. You encounter your first Metroid. They're sort of jellyfish-like creatures with a transparent membrane housing what looks like a cross between eyes or a brain or a nucleus. Underneath are mandibles, which is where their threat comes from. Metroid are able to quickly hover around and latch onto Samus and leech his health at a rapid pace. Shooting them does nothing, and the only way to get a Metroid off of you is to go into Morph Ball and lay a bomb. The only way to defeat a Metroid in this game is to freeze it with your Ice Beam and then hit it with 5 missiles. Once you know this, they are easy to dispose of, but at first they are some intimidating creatures. The first encounter with a Metroid in each game is usually considered to be a bit of an event. You don't know when or where they will first appear. Once you plow through all the Metroid, it's now time to go face to face with the Mother Brain herself. The Mother Brain isn't really all too threatening. It's all the weapons around the room attacking you that she controls, which is where the difficulty comes from. You're going to want a lot of energy and missiles here. Find the right pattern to break the glass, shielding the Mother Brain, and then blast her repeatedly with missiles until you finally destroy her. But wait, won't destroying the life force of a planet result in the planet not being able to exist? Well, yeah, you gotta book it out of there if you want to live. In yet another Metroid staple, you're given a timer until the entire planet explodes, and you have to climb your way to the surface to survive. It ramps up the intensity at the end, just when you thought you fulfilled your mission. After reaching the top, you get your end screen. Great, you fulfilled your mission. It will revive peace in space. But it may be invaded by other Metroid. Pray for a true peace in space. Man, I love NES screens like this. I will pray for a true peace, Metroid. I will pray. And if you beat the game fast enough, oh man, the big twist gets revealed. Samus Aran is not a man at all. She is a woman. That's right, even the official manual itself played you for a fool. You've been a woman this entire time. And yeah, I think this is a great twist. You aren't Mario rescuing Princess Toadstool. You aren't Link rescuing Princess Zelda. You are the fearsome Samus, taking care of business yourself in all of your female warrior glory. I mean, everybody knows that Samus is a female now, but back in 1987, this was really cool to see. In my opinion, Samus is the best female protagonist in video game history, paving the way for some strong heroines like Lara Croft from Tomb Raider and Jill Valentine in Resident Evil. And this has yet another parallel to the Alien films, as Ellen Ripley is the main strong female protagonist there. Looking back, it is kind of funny that Samus being female was kept a secret, but in fact, it was simply an idea that one of the developers had partway through making the game. So they decided to leave it a mystery for an added reward at the end. And that's the original Metroid. So, of course, I absolutely love this game for what it is. It's far from perfect, and is in fact full of glitches, anticlimactic moments, and can be incredibly frustrating experience if you get lost. It's borderline not even fun if you continuously go the wrong way or keep venturing into death over and over. But it's all part of the charm. I even have a little poster of the cover hanging at my desk. There are so many elements here that get reused throughout the entire series, and Metroid is one of the most well-known NES games ever. It is the 18th best-selling NES game of all time, and yeah, its flaws are certainly noticeable at times. It even gets some pretty low reviews even. I'm a bit torn on this here, but I'm hard-pressed to suggest that you play through this game by looking at a map online. Constantly getting lost may make you want to rage quit, so if you know exactly where to go, your interest is more likely to be retained and you'll have a better time. With that said, then the entire exploration aspect of the game would be completely gone this way, which is part of the experience. Future Metroid games do implement a map feature, which definitely makes it more fun without feeling like a walkthrough. The map creates itself as you explore, so you aren't directly told where to go, at least not every time. But if you want some no-nonsense, pure exploration from the School of Hard Knocks, this is your game. Good luck, and get out a pen and paper to draw your own map if you need to. One other quick thing to add is that this game does have its own password system. It's one of those incredibly long 24-character ones, but it's there. A couple infamous cheat codes are typing in Justin Bailey, which gives Samus all of the power-ups as well as playing as Samus outside of her suit. Another one is Narpa's Sword, which gives Samus infinite energy and missiles. Just a cool little legendary tidbit for the game. So, strangely enough, this ended up being the only Metroid game released on the NES. The big hitters like Mario, Zelda, and Castlevania all saw sequels, but not Metroid. It would be another 4 or 5 years, depending on where you live, until we get the actual sequel, this time for Nintendo's new handheld system, the Game Boy. Next time, we will be entering the 1990s with 1991's Metroid 2 Return of Samus. See you in Part 2.